I'm Jane, it's May, and in my hand I have a very, very special pea. Jane, so what's so special about your pea? I'll tell you. This pea, oh sorry, before I start, I've got to say, have you noticed, jumper, boots, it's gone really, really cold again now. I mean, we needed it. It's been so beautifully sunny, but I'm not used to this. It's actually Friday I'm filming this, although it won't come out to the next couple of days. But yeah, first day of May, I've got my winter woolies on. Anyway, back to my peas. These were sent to me by Sarah Hanson a good few months ago now, and I was really excited about them because from what I can remember, she told me they were heritage peas that she's gathered from her own plants, and she wanted to know how they would get on in the English climate, the UK climate. I think Paul's got some as well. I'm pretty sure he has, and I don't know if some other people have got them as well. If they have, they're already ahead of me because, yeah, I haven't got anything in yet, as you know. So they're actually called, it'll be easier for me to show you the name and try and pronounce it. Let me try. Lochforare Bergsveld Fro. Okay, don't know what that means, but underneath it says Train Drivers Mountain Range Seeds, okay? From her plants in 2019. So they're fresh seeds and they're there from last year. But how exciting! A Swedish heritage seed that not only had I not heard of before, but when I've Googled it, I can't find any information on it at all. So Sarah, anything at all you can tell me about these, I'd be really, really grateful. So I've chosen what's probably the coldest day of the week to actually come up and plant them. So I'm going to do that today. I'm going to show you how I plant them, where I plant them, and what I do to try and protect them. And then what we'll do, we'll just have a little look around, see what's popping up. Things are popping up all over, and a little chat at the end. Okay, so let's go and sort out these peas. Okay, I've cleared this bed out since you last saw it. It was the one that had celery at this end and fennel up at that end. I've removed the fennel and put it in a bucket full of water. It's got really deep taproot, so I hope it's going to be okay because I'm going to transplant that at some point. But I thought at this end, where I've taken the celery out, I am going to prepare the soil and put in my pea wigwam. This might not end up being a wigwam at all. It might end up, now looking at the shape of it, it might end up just being your traditional like bean cage type thing, but we'll see. When I dug the celery out of this a few days ago, it was when, well, it was before we had any rain. As it is now, we've had, it's on and off showers today, but the last couple of days we've had quite heavy rain, and the garden really, really, really needed it. And you can tell straight away. I mean, I don't know, you probably can't pick it up on the camera there. I'm going to stand on it. Oh no, I'm just going to try not to stand on the soil. But when I was digging it over, literally the clods were that size, and there was no point at all in breaking them down because they were just going to dust. So the little bit of rain is now, it's softened them enough. Oh crikey, there's all sorts of roots in there. Potato, is it a potato? It's a stone disguised as a potato. Okay. But it just means it was just worth waiting for that little bit of rain to be able to now get in and break up this soil. I don't know if you can see, but now it's actually quite pleasant to work with. So there's a little bit of plastic in there. There's quite a lot of roots in there. I know I'm not a perfectionist gardener, and I know a lot of people spend their lives removing every single root from the from their patch of soil, which does pay off in the end. Crikey, that looks almost like clay. But I'm not going to. Life's too short. And I always think, if you manage to get hold of the weed when it pops its little head up, that's fine. You can get rid of it then. So, oh, you know what? I'm that paranoid. I thought someone was waving at me over there. It's a raspberry bush. Oh dear. Strange times, strange times. Okay, so actually I'm quite pleased with that, you know. That is now not quite a fine tilt, but not far off. I don't want it too fine because when it dries out again, it does just set like concrete. I've said before, these beds are better than the soil at the top half of the allotment because we have built these up a bit, which we are going to be doing, well, we are doing at the moment with the soil at the top, but you can see already that's actually quite nice. So again, not going to level it out too much, it'll soon settle when the weather gets to it. What do you think? Should I go and get hold of some bean poles or pea poles and see what we can do next? Okay, I'm going to go with the teepee idea because I reckon this is just over 3 foot wide, and I think if I keep these 3 feet apart, they're going to be okay. Now, because this soil has been raised to an extent, as I said, we've had, over the last year, we've had manure on it, we've had hops on it, we've had cardboard on it, and compost. It means that the top part, say 4 or 5 inches, is really nice, but when you go to put canes in, oh my goodness, you certainly hit the rock bottom. So I've used my noodle and I've gone and got, oh heck, I can see an accident about to happen, can you? I've gone and got a rusty old mallet. I should take care of my tools properly. Oh, I'm armed. And a dibber. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to dib the holes first to as much as I can, so to that bit there, so a good 6 inches, and that'll give me a little bit of purchase. I feel like Alan Partridge, a little bit of purchase to put my bamboo canes in. The problem is I've only got 7 canes, and if I show you what they're like, they're really ramshackle old canes. I wouldn't be at all surprised if a couple of these break as I'm actually putting them in, but we've got to use what we've got at the moment. We seem to have a lot of 4 foot ones and an awful lot of 8 foot ones, but can I find any 6 foot ones? No, or at least I can probably find 2. So I'm going to put 7 canes around just because that's all I've got, and actually it works out really well because I've got 21 seeds, so a little bit of maths, I can divide the seeds to 3 at each cane. So it's just a case of trying to work out where they're going to go now. I've invented a whole new shape there. It's not quite a teepee, not quite a wigwam, but let's tie it up and see what happens. Well, this is going to be fun because not only they're in an odd shape, but because of the difference in sizes, I'm not quite sure where I'm going to be able to gather them. It's going to be somewhere around about here, I think. So we'll just hope that I can gather them enough to hold them together and they won't all pop out the bottom. But the sun's coming out, so that means something good's happening. I'm going to be using this old string. To be honest, we found this in the top shed, so it belonged to the previous owner. I have used the the nylon string before, and that's brilliant because it's really, really tough and it won't snap, but it's just horrible. And at the end of the season, it's really horrible and you can't get rid of it properly. And also I've got some nice jute string, but I'm going to save that because that snaps quite easily. So hopefully this is going to do the trick. So wish me luck. Oh dear. Right, where do I start? I'll start with that little one there and try and wind them in. So I've got hold of the little fella. If the string unwinds, don't know how old the string is. I'm actually just going to go on the very, very tip of this. I don't know if you can see where there's a node there on the bamboo cane. I'm just going above that to stop it slipping down. Hopefully. Okay, that's quite strong. Now to get these in the middle, I could have done with putting one in the middle, but again, it's just a case of we didn't have enough. So let's try my best to get all these together. You know what? I've often said this about gardening, just give it a go. Give it a try. Right, I've gone all the way round. I've gone round and round the mulberry bush, round and round the maypole. Let's see if we're going to be able to get them. Hey, they're coming. They're coming. Of course, I haven't cut the string first. I mean, another way to do this, if you wanted to, you can get like little plastic caps that you can fit on the tops of the canes, which will hold all the canes together. Or, hey, I'm quite pleased with that. Or you can, what else can you do? Oh yeah, instead of getting a plastic cap, you can make your own by just chopping the bottom off an old plant pot. As long as it's got holes in the bottom, and then you can use each hole to pop a cane through. Of course, I've thrown the scissors on the floor, haven't I? Why do I do this every time? Okay, now for the fun bit, where you've got to try not to get into such a tangle. So try and find the right end of your string first. I could do with one of those string dispensers. I know I've got one somewhere, because there's nothing worse, especially when you get to the last sort of few meters of your string and it all tangles up. So I've got both ends there, so I'm tucking the old end in the middle. You can't see, but I am. Right, string. Shut up, Jane. Tie your string round. All I'm going to do is tie it around that first one wherever I want to. You've got to think that pea is going to be looking for something, bless its little heart, to start climbing up. So what I do, I know a lot of people will tie off at each bamboo cane, but as you probably know by now, I'm not like a lot of other people. So I am just going to wind it round once like that, and then as long as you don't let the tension let up, you should, like I nearly did then, you should be able to keep on going all the way round. See, pretty much that's the first one done. And then, once you've gone all the way round, you might want to tie it just to make sure there's no slippage. It's a word that's been used a lot recently. I don't know what it means. It probably isn't very nice. The fun bit. If I see any weeds as I go, I'll pull them out. We are very lucky here that we tend not to be bothered too much by perennial weeds. It's mainly annual weeds, so as you see them you can just pull them out, not a problem. But what I'm going to do with my peas, now I didn't know this the first time I ever planted any, I've just sat on them. If you are going to be growing them off some sort of, I'm going to call it a structure like this, make sure you plant them on the inside and not on the outside. You imagine if you are a plant, you are going to want to start going up. If you are a plant that's trying to climb up some sort of structure, you are going to have to actually go over quite an angle to hit that cane, okay? If you put them on the inside here, as so, you can go up, and at some point you will hit the cane naturally a lot sooner than you would do if you had to do that angle there. So try and make sure to remember, if you're using a wigwam or any sort of structure actually where you've got slanting canes, to plant them on the inside. Right, I can just do that with my hands actually, look. I'm doing a little trench there, teeny tiny little trench, a pea-sized trench one might say. Because I've got 7 canes, I'm putting 3 of these peas at each station. Oh, hold on, nearly forgot. Before I put them in, I'm going to water them with my little teapot. Water that first. As I say, we have had enough rain this week, so the soil's now nice and damp anyway. But just to give them a head start. And what I want to do, if I show you, I've got somewhere behind me the scourge of modern day society in my hand. The plastic bottle, and as if by magic I've already cut one. See? Can you see that? I don't know if you can. I think you can. Okay, and what I'm going to do is once I've put the peas in there, I'm going to put this round just as a slight deterrent for the pigeon population, because as you've probably seen, we are surrounded by very lovely mature trees which I absolutely adore, but sadly they provide perfect little lookout spots for the pesky pigeon. So I'm going to make sure I've got these in close enough so I can put that round them. So I've got one there, one there, one there. Let's just check and see. Yeah, and then what I can do, oopsie, whoopsie, 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 is put it around the cane. Make sure it's around the peas before I cover the peas up, and then hopefully that's all I've done. That's all I've done. Look, I can just do that with the soil. Press it down a bit. Hopefully once those peas start to come up, not only will this I'm trying to do it with this hand so you can see, not only will this provide them with a little bit of protection from the pigeons, but also should help them keep away from the slugs, or rather it should help them keep the slugs away from them. Is that the right way around? I think that's the right way around. But yeah, try and make sure you can get it all the way around if you can, which I haven't quite done. So I'll just pull it a little bit there. And then yeah, you're doing your bit to just give them that head start. Okay. Well, would you believe it? I only actually had one of those pop bottles up here with me. I have got a couple more at home I've been saving for this very, very purpose, but oh no, they're not here when I need them. So I've only managed to use those cloches on 4 of the canes. So rather than risk leaving the other ones bare, I've liberated some of the bunting from the shed, which I think, you know, could be a happy accident. Certainly makes the structure look a little bit better. Well, I found out where the rest of my pop bottles have gone. Mike's been sticking them on his lettuce. But I've got to be honest, they do exactly the same thing for the lettuce as they would do for the bees. So they are keeping them in a nice little microclimate, although to be honest, this could probably come off now. Let's just have a look underneath. The thing is, once you take them off, you can't get them back on. So let's just see. They don't even just keep the pigeons away from those. Oh, look at those tender leaves. They don't just keep the pigeons away from the leaves, but they keep the slugs away as well. Oh, that's beautiful. One day soon, little lettuce leaf, we're going to eat you all up. As you can probably see here, I've had quite a sporadic germination rate with my broad beans, but it's not too late to start popping some in the gaps, so I'm going to do this. You'll also notice I've got some volunteer potatoes popping up, but something I do want to pop up, I'm really pleased with, is last year at the edge of this plot and the one opposite with the asparagus in, I had some gorgeous, gorgeous calendula, and they've self-seeded themselves this year. They're quite easy to spot, the calendula seeds. They're a little bit furry. That's not one, that's a weed. But yeah, they're coming up, and they are just a joy to behold in midsummer. The Charlotte potatoes are up. I can't see any gaps there, so really, really pleased with those. What I will keep an eye out for is, last year, looking in one of my gardening journals, middle of May, we had a frost which took off all the fresh tops of the early potatoes as well as the squash which are planted out. So yeah, I don't think we're going to get any frost now, but we'll just keep an eye out. I mean, potatoes are fairly robust and they do grow back, but you'd rather not have your plant checked if you can help it. So yeah, I will keep an eye on those night temperatures. It certainly looks like storm clouds are gathering. We'll soon find out. For the sheds, which, you know, is actually quite nice, because I don't think I've sat in this shed for such a long time. I've always been sitting outside, haven't I, at the table outside? But yeah, it's so nice to be back in here, although it needs such a clean up. I mean, aside from the fact that there's a little bit of dusting needs doing over there, that side is a little, I think you've got a little glimpse of what needs tidying up here. But yeah, things have been pushed to one side, let's put it that way. But until we've got this polytunnel up and running, there's this is where we're storing a lot of the stuff for it. So I keep looking at it. I should stop looking. I'm not going to look at it. I'm going to try not to look at it. Just accept it and pretend it's something really nice. Anyway, yeah, that was quite a heavy downpour. That is more like what you would call a traditional April shower. It just came from nowhere, really. One minute it was really sunny, the next minute the heavens opened, but I love that. As long as you've got somewhere inside to go to and watch it, it's really, really good. And also, it's good for us in as much as, I've mentioned this in a previous video, although we've got a tap on our allotment, which has been absolutely brilliant, we're not going to be able to use it anymore. The water went off in September. It's usually off between September and May. It would usually be coming back on today, in fact. But because there have been so many instances of the line being damaged that comes all the way down the lane, and the cost of repairing it all the time, the owner has decided to put standpipes in. So this weekend, the allotment's actually going to be closed, which is why I'm up filming today. We're not going to have access to the allotment Saturday, Sunday, because they're going to be up and down the lane putting the new pipe in. What that also means is we've been, it's been such a dry April, as I mentioned before, but we've been desperate to get water in the water butts. And we've got about, I've said it before, about 7, maybe more, sorts of different containers, and we were down to the last few inches in each one. So as far as water in the greenhouse was concerned, we had neighbours, plot neighbours, who were bringing water up from home. So this at least has replenished the water butts a little bit. And once the standpipes are in, that's going to be fine. You know, we'll have hoses going to and from. That's going to be fun. And everything will be hunky-dory. But yeah, the whole garden needed a good downpour. And like I said when I was putting the peas in, that soil just a few days ago was like rock. It was like rock, and when you hit it, it was just dust came away from it. So the fact that it's been workable today, it's been really good. And actually, I've got those peas in, and they are now tucked in. It's reasonably warm. They should start going for it now, I reckon, but it'd be interesting to see. That's one of the things I've done today anyway. I was going to show you how to do cuttings and things like that, but I'm sure you already know. And I've run out of time, as ever, because I've been talking too much. But let me just show you one or two things. When I was going through my bean seeds last time, I don't think I mentioned these. I found them and I'd completely forgotten them. And these were one that I had ordered. As I said, I'm terrible for ordering things in the winter. I don't order that many seeds online. and then forgetting about them, putting them down, forgetting about them. It's exactly what I did with these, and these are those forgive my translation, whatever it is, pronunciation, broad beans, which are the red broad beans that get the beautiful, beautiful deep pink flowers on. So I found them, and I'm so glad I did, because hopefully I've still got time to put them in. As I showed you before, there's quite a few gaps in the broad beans, so I'm going to have to fill those anyway. And I'm going to put these next to the Train Driver Mountain Rage locked for peas. Okay, that gap where I took the fennel out, next to where the peas are now. So they're going to go in there, so I've got a good spot for them. Thank goodness I found them though. The other thing I'm not too sure about are these pots. Again, I'll show you close. You'll have seen these before. They're literally the little cardboard pots, and you can get them for next to nothing from the, what should I say, the bargain shops. And that's where I got these. I'll be honest with you, I got these, it was actually just before the lockdown, when I didn't think we were going to be able to come up to the allotment, and I didn't have any mini pots at home because they're all up here. So I thought, well, I'll get these and these will see me through. And I've planted in these my Amish paste tomatoes, my chilies that I just mentioned, and a few other things. And I've got to be honest, I'm not very, can you see the top of my head? I don't know if you can. I'm not very impressed. I find with these, they dry out really, really quickly, because obviously this card, is it cardboard? Is there a magic formula? Is there something I'm missing here? I think they're just cardboard. But that seems to wick all the moisture out of the soil. So you've really, really got to keep an eye on them. And I must admit, my Amish paste are really struggling this year. They're coming, they're okay, but they're a bit slow. As were my chilies, and yet the plants the seeds that I didn't put in these pots are okay. So I suppose much the same as if you're using toilet rolls, which I am for my sweet corn. And what else have I got in my toilet rolls? Sweet corn, and it could be my sunflowers. They're actually at home. Just keep an eye on them, make sure they stay damp, because before you know it, yeah, if your soil dries out, that you've got your poor little seedling in, it's just going to die. So I don't like those very much. What do you think? Is it because I got bargain ones? Can you get good ones that work? But I don't think I'll be using those again. As I say, I only bought them anyway in a bit of a, you know, oh my goodness, what am I going to do? I haven't got any plant pots mood. But there we go. But my plants are okay. I was going to show you the greenhouse. It's looking much the same as everyone else's at the moment. It's not quite jam-packed, but it's getting there. Yeah, things are looking good. I have got some cuttings that I need to take. As I've mentioned before, that I really, really want to adopt some more companion planting practice this year. And that's one of the things I pushed to one side, falling over. Oh dear, it's all going to tumble in a minute. It's like Jenga. I planted chives around the apple tree last year. That was one of my companion planting things. I have planted lavender to bring in bees and predatory insects down a couple of the sides of the beds as you walk down to the allotment. I've got my marigolds that again will bring in beneficial insects, but on, it's difficult to tell you without showing you, but the other raised beds, if you imagine the path that's going, they're edged beds really, the path that's going through the middle as you walk up the allotment, either side of that path at the edge of each edged bed, I want to have some beneficial companion plants. So what I want to put by the blueberries, for example, is thyme, because apparently they're very good. They share the same sort of soil fussiness, and they're very good friends to have with blueberries, and I'll do the same on the other side. So as you walk up, you should have a thing of thyme. Oh, marjoram's another one I'm doing. Marigolds, lavender. I was going to put sage in, but the thing is with sage, it gets so big that it might just grow into the middle of the path and be a nuisance. And then my chives around the tree. So yeah, I'm starting to get there. I must admit, I haven't been giving it too much thought lately. And of course, now's the time, we're in a bit of a mad headless chicken season, aren't we? That everything needs doing at once. So yeah. I'll be going to bed and waking up at 2 o'clock in the morning and wondering where I can stick my gooseberries. I'm sure you've all got an answer for that one. Anyway, yeah, so things are picking up. It's May. It's my favourite month of the year. I absolutely love May. Not least, everything starts to go mad in the garden, but if you've got any lanes or anything with hawthorn near you, this smell, especially after the rain, of the hawthorn blossom, or as we can call it, the May blossom over here, and the cow parsley, it's one of my favourite, most evocative smells for me. Yeah, and much as we can admire the garden, admire the countryside and admire the great outdoors in the winter, you don't get the same smells and the scents and everything that, you know, spring's on the way, or rather summer's on the way, and we've got all that goodness around the corner. I'm going to shut up now, I'm starting to waffle, aren't I? Hope you're all okay. We're only at 700 on the Facebook page. There's been a sudden surge, and I'm sure it's people starting to take more interest in their gardens. So welcome to everybody who's, you know, has been there all this time, but also if you're a new member, brilliant. You know, it's so nice to see you. I hope you're enjoying it. We are very friendly. We don't bite. So the links for that are below. The links for my Instagram page are below. And yeah, if you like what you see, give me a thumbs up. Give us a thumbs up, missus. And think about subscribing, but you don't have to. I'll be here anyway. You can't get rid of me. Okay, but yeah, take care, everybody, and I'll see you very, very soon. Okay, bye.